Peace, peace, family. We are back. We are on time, and we are going to be diving into transforming your life through the power of divine masculine energy, specifically through upgrading your father's DNA. What I want to start off by saying is listen, when I first received the download that I had to talk about the father wound, um, I had no idea that it was going to be this powerful and this impactful. I had no idea that it was going to be this intense, that it was going to be this transformational. And ever since I started talking about this, ever since I started thinking about this energy of healing the father wound, I have received so many messages. I have received so many, different people commenting on my videos in the Sacred Sister Circle. We've talked about it. There has just been a lot of information that has come through pertaining to the father, the dad, the masculine energy that makes up who we are. So, right now, as you come in, definitely say hey, definitely say what's up. I want to know who's here. And then I also want you to like this video. And if you feel like it, share it. Okay. I'm about to actually share this video with the Sacred Sister Circle because in our last session we talked about this energy, and I was just like, look, this is too it's so deep, right? It's so deep, the amount of downloads and channels that have continued to come up and that continue to be revealed to me about this topic. Okay. um and so we're going to get into it. There's a lot that has to be expressed. There's a lot that has to be talked about, but we're building on top of these building blocks. So last week we talked about what that divine masculine energy is. Last week we talked about what it meant to be a good or a great father, and we talked about how some of the things that make up a good man or a great father are required in order for you to manifest, in order for you to transform your life, and in order for you to become the person that you desire to be. Okay. Today, though, we are going to go deeper into one of the most important things that you have to do if you want to transform the energy between you and your father, whether he is alive or not, whether you know him or not. If you want to transform that energy so that your father's DNA actually serves you, this is something that you have to do, right? And so we're going to be talking about what that thing is. Because at the end of the day, like I said last week, you are your father, whether you know him or not. There is 50% of you is made up of his code. 50% of you is made up of his DNA. 50% of you is made up of his program. Okay. And whether you realize it or not, whether you like it or not, the fact is that you've been operating with some of his information. And if you don't analyze that information, utilize that information, transform that information, you'll stay in a place of not fully connecting to yourself, not fully honoring yourself, and not fully understanding who, what, when, where, and why you are here today, the purpose you are meant to serve, the power you are meant to exist in, and all of that other very important information that you need to understand as a spiritual being having this human experience. So if that's something y'all are interested in learning more about and tapping into, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat for me. I am so excited to talk about this with y'all. I was actually having hella dreams. All of my dreams last night, fathers were in them. Like there were damn near no women in my dream besides me. That's how real this energy is. So put a 1 in the chat if you're excited to talk about it. And then let me know how y'all are doing. I want to know how y'all are doing. If you were able to listen to the last video, definitely want to know about that. Y'all, so much has been coming through. So much have been coming through. And I want to take a moment to say this for the people who do not know their fathers. Because I received multiple messages from people who were like, I don't know my father, or, I've only seen my father one time, and things like that. And so I want y'all to know, whoever you are, whoever is in that experience, I have a very, very uh, tender spot in my heart for people who have that experience of not knowing their father, not connecting with their father. And here's why. Um, my older brother does not have a relationship with his father, has never met his father, they've never connected. And there are many of you who are like that as well. And that's one of the hardest things to experience, because you really feel like you don't know a part of yourself, which is a part of why I'm doing this video, because it is very important. But it became more important to me, y'all, when I did ayahuasca. How many of y'all have ever done ayahuasca? Mama Aya. This was about this had to be more than 2 years. Maybe this is about 2.5, almost 3 years ago. Dream and I did ayahuasca at our house by ourselves at night. We are so adventurous. We are so adventurous, right? So we're like, okay, let's do this ayahuasca by ourselves. Let's see how it goes. Let's go in. And I'm doing my ayahuasca trip. We tripping, I guess we would say. I don't know the proper word to say when it's ayahuasca. It's probably not tripping, but we're having our experience, right? And Dream is in our magic room. We have a whole room that just is magic, and it's quiet. It's our meditation room. Dream is in there, and I am in our bedroom. And it's nighttime, and I'm laying in the bed, and I'm just starting to see things. And one of the things that I see, which I'll never forget this because it was so magical how spirit came through. I see me as a little girl crying and upset that my father did not come to pick me up, right? And this is a real life experience. This, ayahuasca, she shows you, Mama Aya, she shows you literally experiences that you've had that you may have forgotten. And she gives you perspective. And so I'm seeing me as a little girl crying, upset, throwing a fit because my dad isn't coming to pick me up. And who's there in that vision is my older brother. And my older brother is being so compassionate. He's being so loving. He's being so empathetic for me as his little sister. He's like, oh, it's gonna be okay, Desiree. It's gonna be all good. He's really loving on me. And what Spirit did while I was on an ayahuasca trip, Spirit made me shift my perspective, because while I'm crying that my dad didn't come to pick me up, now this doesn't take away the hurt and the pain that I felt. It doesn't deny that, right? It doesn't remove that experience, but it gives perspective, right? And so while I'm crying and upset that my father isn't coming, my older brother still had the compassion and the empathy to love on me, though he has no relationship with his father, has never known his father, has never connected with his father. And when I saw that, I was just blown away, because a lot of times, this is so good, hear me clearly. A lot of times in our lives, when we experience hardships, we are so zoomed in. It's like we have our problem, our issue, our shortcoming, our trauma. We have it underneath the microscope, and we're zoomed in so tightly to it. And when I was on an ayahuasca, basically what Spirit did for me, Spirit actually zoomed me out from my problem, my sadness, my disappointment, and allowed me to see the full picture. I was able to watch the movie. I was able to see all the characters at play in this movie. I was able to see all the hurt, all the disappointment, all the anger that was showing up from each person that was in that scene, that was in my life experience. So when I say, for the people who do not have a relationship with their father, they don't know their father, I love you. And I want you to know that though there is though the journey, right, when you come into consciousness and you're trying to figure yourself out, the journey of that process will start off as confusion and anger and disappointment and like, who am I? And not only will it start off that way, but you will go through life seeking and searching for wholeness and for completion in spaces and places that could never give it. So you'll look for homeboys to try to fill, or homegirls to fill that father wound, or you'll look for a husband or a boyfriend to fill that father wound, or to fill that identity crisis. You'll look for, maybe it'll be a job that you would use. Some people, it's an addiction to certain drugs that will fill that void of that identity crisis and not knowing who that other side of yourself is, who that other part of you is. And I've witnessed this. I've witnessed, people who did not have a relationship with their father. I witnessed them turn to shopping and overspending. You got to have the best shoes, you got to have the best clothes, you got to have the best chain, you got to have those things, the best bottles, the best sections when you go out. You got to have those things to fill that void. And that typically happens for men. For a lot of women who have an identity crisis when it comes down to knowing and connecting with who their father was, a lot of women turn to overworking. So the job becomes their identity. I'm a teacher, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, instead of I am my mother and my father's child. All right. So I wanted to start there because that's very important with understanding that. And the beautiful thing about, about not having a relationship, because you got to look at both sides of the coin. The positive side of the coin about not having that one-on-one relationship and being able to observe your physical father. One of the powerful things about that is that you get to mix and meld and mend and bring together different qualities of powerful men that you admire, that you look up to for whatever reason. You get to bring those qualities and characteristics together and activate that inside of you, right? Because some of us, like myself, who have had a relationship with their father, who do have a relationship with their father, some of those qualities are so deep. And I'm going to be talking about that today. Give me a check in the chat if you are following along. Give me a check in the chat if you're following along. I appreciate that. I love that. The mental goddess says you connected a major dot for me. I love that. That's what I'm here to do, right? That's absolutely what I'm here to do. I'm grateful to do it. And yeah, these are just the powerful things that I've been able to understand and comprehend through my observation and through spirit, right? Through spirit just revealing certain things to me when I see it. Okay. So thank y'all. I'm glad you're getting it. Dream and I are watching this new show called From. Brother Yosef actually told us about it. We went out to eat on Monday with Brother Yosef and his wife. And we talked about the father energy. Funny enough, we talked about the father energy. Yosef was in my dream last night. He was connecting some dots for me for this video. And so we're just going to be channeling and tapping into a lot of very, very powerful. I really want to sit up higher. I want to sit up higher, y'all. I be feeling like I'm sitting too low. I want to be sitting up high. Yes, girl. Yeah, sit up higher. Okay, sit up higher, girl. Be great. Okay. Yeah. So Brother Yosef told us about this show called From and Dream, and I've been watching that. And funny enough, in that show, it's a pretty crazy show, y'all. But in that show, there's a lot of father energy coming up. And as I was watching it last night, I was like, oh my God. See, a lot of times, y'all, there's a guy in the show. He's an Asian guy, and his father has dementia. His father has dementia. His father is forgetting him, right? His father is forgetting things. His father is not very present. And so this young Asian kid, he took a liking to the main character, the black man, the sheriff. Well, I don't know if he's a sheriff. I don't know what his role is, but he's the powerful person in this show. The Asian kid took a liking to him. And I just found that so interesting because we do that, right? When we're not receiving what we need from who we think we're supposed to be receiving it from, we will subconsciously find people or find things to fill that void. And we would even attach emotionally to those things. So let me say this. And so, like, in that show, I love it. In the show, the guy, because of his relationship with his father, was what it was, the Asian sheriff. He finds himself, in my observation, this is not said via words, this is what I pick up on spiritually, right? He finds himself overworking, right? He finds himself over dedicating himself, right? He just finds himself channeling that energy into things that would help him to work through the feeling of not being complete or not living up to his father's wish and desire for him, or not being able to connect with his father emotionally and mentally. And yes, babe, they did start playing catch. So we do this, and we need that. We need that from time to time. So let's get into this, right? I just wanted to talk about that from the beginning because, like I said, a lot of the people that messaged me on YouTube and even on like email and Instagram and even in the Sacred Sister Circle, a lot of the women that I've spoken to and even men have just talked about how they didn't have a relationship with their father. So I wanted to address that and give y'all that understanding real quick. So one of the major things that y'all have to understand, all right, this is about to be real juicy. It's scary juicy. I was talking to Dream about it outside. I was like, babe, these revelations and realizations that I'm having, it's almost scary to be able to see and pinpoint. But we need to hear it. When you do not forgive your father, whether you know him or not. Ooh, come on. You hear me? Let me know if y'all are following me. When you do not forgive your father, whether you know him or not, what happens on a subconscious and subtle level is little micro energies of self-hate and rejection. Let me say that again. I want to make sure you understand what I'm really saying to you, because this is very, very deep. And it's going to take mental and emotional maturity to observe about yourself and to work through. So let me say it again. When you don't forgive your father, and this goes for your mother too, right? But since we're talking about father, that's why I'm using the word father, but this goes for your mother too. When you don't forgive them for whatever they did or did not do in your life, this creates subtle energies, very subtle energies of self-hate and self-rejection. And why that happens is very deep. You gotta follow me here. Whatever your father did or did not do is a direct reflection of his DNA. It's a direct reflection of his consciousness. Understand that your consciousness is what makes up your DNA. It's what makes up your code. It's what makes up your program. Which is why when you do the work, right? When you do the work, you transform your DNA, you activate your DNA. What's really happening is you're growing in consciousness. Your mind is expanding. You're tapping into higher dimensions. You're tapping into deeper levels of love, deeper levels of understanding, deeper levels of yourself. So when you are still angry or resentful or regretful about anything that either your mother or your father has done, that part of their DNA that still dwells inside of you becomes rejected. It's like what they call the junk DNA. Even though we know junk DNA is not a real thing, it's just DNA that has not been activated and been given a goal or a mission, right? Or a job. So a lot of times what we unconsciously do is we reject ourselves, we hate aspects of ourselves, and we do things like self-sabotage and procrastination and envy and jealousy and negative self-talk, these things a lot of the time are a result of you not letting go of something your mother or your father did, and you don't realize that who they are is a part of who you are. And when you are still in an energy of frustration, annoyance, and anger with them, you still have frustration, annoyance, and anger with a part of yourself. And so what you unconsciously are doing is denying an aspect of yourself. And anytime you deny any aspect of yourself, whether it is your light self or your dark self, your shadow self, or that part of you that you love and that you embrace, but you probably don't show to other people, whenever you deny any aspect of yourself, it does multiple things. One, it weakens the DNA, right? Now you have holes and fragments and pieces of yourself that are not being cultivated, that are not being loved on, that are not being nurtured, and that are not rising up to higher vibrations of being. That's one. Two, you're diminishing your own power. Y'all be seeing a Dream when he goes live, he has the Joker, right? He had the Joker behind him on his live stream video that he did yesterday. When we think about the Joker, we are looking and observing a character who has embraced his light and his dark, which makes him powerful, impactful, and influential. Okay. I'll give you a great example of this. And I'm gonna go. The example that I'm about to give you is so real, but I'm gonna go even deeper into it next week, right? Because next week we are going to talk about the impact on your sexuality and the impact on your relationships based off of father wounds that you have. Because best believe them issues that you have with your father, whether you know him or not, you bring them into your relationship. Even if you don't know your father and you get into a relationship, you may carry some lingering energy that says, I'm scared that I will never truly get to know who you are. Or you may carry an energy within your relationship that says, I will never let you see truly who I am because I barely know who I truly deeply am. So you'll never get to see the fullness of me. You're only seeing a little portion of me. And in fact, even when I think about my relationship with Dream, I see the qualities of his father. But that's because I've studied his mother so much, right? I've observed his mama so much that even though Dream's father passed away when he was a very small kid, I can see the spirit and the code and the DNA of his father, even though his father didn't technically raise him. See what I mean? So we bring these things into our relationships. And so for me, one thing that I couldn't stand, that I didn't like about my father was that it felt like he was self-centered. I talked about this last week. It felt like my father was really all about himself and really into himself. And so he couldn't be into me. Even though I truly was a daddy's little girl, I didn't know if I was the apple of my father's eye. There's a difference. Let me sip some tea on that, okay? I subconsciously, and this doesn't mean that it's real, okay? This doesn't mean that it's facts, right? My dad adores me today, and I see it and I feel it. Matter of fact, we were at my birthday party, and my dad came up to me and he started crying. He gave me a hug and he cried. It was my 30th birthday. And he was just like, I'm so proud of you. And it was in that moment where I was like, oh my God, my dad really does love and adore me. But in my childhood, I felt like I was always chasing after him, right? I feel like I was always chasing after him. I felt like I was always being like, daddy, daddy, daddy. I felt like that. I didn't feel like when he looked at me as his daughter that he just saw beauty and wonder and magic and just this princess who is his absolute world. I didn't feel that. And so that's a part of him that I picked up on and I rejected, right? Because how it shaped me. This is so fucking real. It's crazy. How it shaped me in my teenage years and young adult years, how it shaped me was I wasn't the apple of my own eye because I hadn't understood his perspective. I hadn't forgiven his perspective. I was still subconsciously upset. I was still it wasn't conscious. Like I could talk to my dad, see my dad, we'll have a great time. I love you. It's great. But I didn't know that there was some energy underlying that was like, why didn't my father, or why didn't I feel that adornment and that adoration from my father? And so that frustration and that lack of forgiveness caused me on a very subtle level to really dislike an aspect of myself, the aspect of my aesthetic, right? How I look. Maybe I'm too tall. Maybe I'm too chocolate. Maybe I'm too opinionated. I don't have the clear skin. You know, I found things to pick apart within myself unconsciously. And that was rooted in the fact that I was denying that I needed something from my father. I didn't recognize it. I was frustrated at the fact that he was so into himself that he probably couldn't see me. Again, let me tell y'all how trauma works. It does not mean that this is an absolute fact and this is exactly what happened. But this is how my young mind, how my child mind perceived my situation. And so the beauty about it now is that the more you grow in consciousness, the more you grow in spirit, the more you grow in connecting to God, the more you can transform the perspective and the viewpoint that you have. And when you transform the perspective and the viewpoint, you change the DNA, you change the code, you change the program. So for all of those years where I was frustrated and mad and didn't forgive my father for being so into himself, I denied being able to be into myself. Let me get a check. For all of those years that I was mad that my father's eyes didn't light up when he saw me, for all of those years, I denied that quality, that energy, that self-centeredness, that self-loveness, that self-admiration, that self-adoration, right? That I'm feeling myself, that I'm the baddest bitch and don't matter who says it or not, right? I denied myself that energy because I did not allow my father to be who he was, which was into himself, loving himself, caring for himself, because I felt like that energy he was giving to himself, he had to give it to me. Okay. And so this led me to doing certain things. This led me to soliciting broke. I don't even know what word I want to use. This led to me just being willing to entertain certain things, certain people who if I was in my right mind like I am right now, there were people in my past I would have never dated. There were friends I would have never been friends with, I would have never kicked it with, I would have never spent time with. There were actions that I probably wouldn't have never done if I was totally into myself, loving myself and nourishing myself the way my father was doing for himself, which I thought was negative at one point in time. Everything that I desired from my father, I would have given to myself. And it would have changed the way that I approached life and the way that I approached relationships, the way that I approached worthiness, the way that I approached my greatness. Okay? On a subconscious level, when there are qualities and characteristics about our father or about our parents that we reject or deny, or that we can't observe with a balanced perspective, that we can't reconcile the polarity and reconcile the poles, meaning get out of the idea of good and bad and understand that it just is, and tap into the spirit of it, tap into the wisdom of it. When we cannot do that, right? When we are so focused and so one-track minded on one side of that coin, all right, we unconsciously attract experiences to prove ourselves right about whatever that situation is. I'll give you another great example of this. How do I want to share this story? I'll be let's just say it like this. And I'm seeing it so much, right? I'm seeing it so much to where it's like those very things that it's like repeating old cycles. Let me say it like that. It's repeating old cycles. When you do not forgive and let go, one thing's for sure is you stagnate and you make certain parts of your DNA dormant, right? They're asleep because you think it's negative. Because you think this quality about your father is negative, you've put that aspect to sleep within yourself. Not understanding that if you turn it on, you can use it for fuel, you can use it for power, you can do the alchemy on that thing. Okay? I have a family member who he felt like his dad could do more. His dad should be showing up more. His dad should be providing more. His dad should be making things happen. His dad should be fighting for him. His dad should be present. His dad should be this. His dad should be that. And he struggled with forgiving his father for what he did or did not do. Not picking him up, not paying for this, not showing up for this, not sacrificing for this. He struggled with forgiving that and letting that energy go. And sure enough, he creates a circumstance or situation in his life that causes him to be in a situation to where he damn near is living out his father's path. And because his perspective is so on the negative pole, meaning seeing his father as, oh, he didn't do this, oh, he didn't do that, he didn't take care of this. Because his perspective is such on the negative pole, he will overwork himself to not be who his father was, not understanding that there was power in some of the qualities and characteristics of his father at that time. And if he could have a balanced perspective, look at both the positive and the negative and see how everything has worked out divinely. If he could do that, he wouldn't have to overwork himself to prove himself right. What do I mean by that? If you have an idea in your mind that a specific quality or character trait about your father was negative, you are going to go through life looking for all the proof of that being true. And what you don't know is that what you are doing when you do that is attract more issues that are on the same frequency and vibration of whatever that experience was. So what do I mean by that? I unconsciously did that. This is why I'm telling y'all, you have to get out of that energy. You gotta LIG it. You gotta let it go. Because I was so frustrated and didn't like that I wasn't the father of my apples, the apple of my father's eye, even though now I realize I was. But at the time when I didn't, I would find myself attracting relationships with people who could give a damn about me, really, right? Friends who really didn't care, guys really didn't care. They was not really checking for me. They were not really loving on me. They were not really honoring me. They did not care for me to be the girl of their dreams or the friend of their dreams. Do you understand? So you will always unconsciously, whenever you have any resistance towards any area or aspect of your life, you're going to go look for that proof throughout your life experiences. You are going to go look for the validation of that. So if you grew up with a father who was not a provider, you grew up with a father that was not a provider, he did not take care of business financially, and you create this belief that, a man can't take care of me financially. I got to grind. I got to work hard. I got to provide for myself. You will create life situations and circumstances where you are not divinely supported by other people. You will create life situations and circumstances where you got to work 1, 2, 3 jobs just to pay your baseline bills, because you have to prove to yourself that the belief that you've acquired through the observation of your father is real. When the real gem, the real download, the real alchemy, the real takeaway of it would be to transform that thought, transform that perspective into something that serves you, and find proof in that. So when it came down to me being the apple of my father's eye, I was like, wait, hold on. At least my father does he be posting me all on his Facebook, and he just be like, yeah, my daughter this, my daughter that. At one point, I thought that he was just showing out. But I had to say, well, you know what? He's proud. He's proud that I'm his daughter. He's proud that it's me. And I had to use that as fuel. I had to say, you know what? I look just like my father. And because I look just like my father, because I look just like him, I mean, he has to think that I'm beautiful. He has to think that I am everything in a bag of chips. I mean, I look just like him. How can he deny this beauty and this wonder? Though he did not say the words, doesn't mean that it's not true. Because I'm his twin. And so I had to take that energy and I had to use that as my fuel. I'm about to show y'all a more recent picture of me and my father that I love and that I adore, because I want y'all to see how the alchemy, this is the alchemy, this is the transformation. See, I don't know what the rest of people be talking about, but the work that I come to do, the work that I'm here to do, is to show you that you can be, do, have, and experience whatever it is that you desire. You can, you shall, you will. That's the work that I'm here to do. That's the work that I'm here to do. I'm here to let you know that you do not have to keep any aspect of yourself dormant. You can do the alchemy to transform it. You can do the work to heal it. You can do whatever is required for this thing to serve your highest good rather than take anything away from you. See, too often we're letting the downfall and what our parents did or did not do, you letting that shit stop you from being great, rather than saying, okay, I see this, I observe this. Now, how do I use this? How do I use this? How do I allow this to serve me? How do I multiply this? How do I transform this? And so what I'm telling you right now is that when you deny certain qualities and aspects about your father, your mother, about the people that made you, when you do that, right, all you're doing is cutting off your own arm, your own hand, your own finger, your own leg, because at the end of the day, them two coming together, your mother and your father coming together, are what made you you. Look at the beautiful picture in this background. You see the man and the woman, the masculine and the feminine, they're coming together. Listen, this is you, right? Down here at the bottom of the screen, That's you coming into conception, their DNA wrapping together through their intimacy, through their love making, through that sexual alchemy. And then right here, this light, that's the portal, that's the vagina, that's the womb, that's you coming through. So when you deny, hey, when you say, "Ooh, my father got this type of personality and I can't stand it, and my father did this and I don't like it, and my mother did this and it gets on my nerves," all you saying is that there are qualities and aspects about you that you are denying, that you don't like, that get on your nerves. And so a part of your work is this. We're going to switch up this Bible verse right here. This Bible verse right here. Y'all know the Bible verse that says, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." No, we're going to say, "Forgive thy father, for he knows not what he do." Forgive thy father, for he knows not what he do. That's going to be my dad right there. Booyah. I love us. That's us right there. Love it. That's us. That's us. We've grown. Listen, this night, honey, we had a time that night. Baby, we was lit that night. And let me show y'all a gift that I had got from a friend. Shout out to my girl Felicia. Shout out to my girl Felicia. She had this piece of artwork made for me for my birthday. That was from that night, right? You see the braids, you see the striped shirt. This was from that night. We was lit. We was partying. Honey, we had a good time that night, baby. My daddy was like, yeah, come on, you and Dream, y'all come out, let's go out. We went to it was like a poetry night. See, my daddy got soul. See, let me tell y'all why I'm like, you know what? I'm letting all of that shit go. Because when I look at my daddy, look at this man. He's handsome. He is building his wealth. You know, he got stocks. He got his investments. He got a Corvette. He barely work. He go golfing multiple times a week. He travels multiple times throughout the year. Why would I deny certain qualities of him when he's been able to get himself to this point right now? Like, I'm proud of who my father is today. And he was able to do some alchemy. He was able to do some spiritual work. He was able to do something that has opened up his life so beautifully as a father and as a grandfather. So why would I stay upset at him when I'm seeing that he has forgiven and transformed himself, which has opened up a life for him that is absolutely beautiful? So it's either two ways you can take this thing. Either you are going to allow the lessons of your father, either you are going to allow them to fuel you, to teach you, to grow you, to heal you, to transform you, or you're going to allow it to stagnate you, or you're going to allow it to keep you playing small, or you're going to allow it to keep you repeating the cycles of not being enough. I'm about to show y'all another picture that I love. Like, what you gonna do? How can I adjust this picture? Let me see. What you gonna do? Like, really ask yourself. I wish y'all can see this picture. I don't know. This is actually a really, really good picture. Anyways, that's us going back to the DNA. So what you gonna do? Really ask yourself right now. Are you going to stunt the DNA? Are you going to diminish the power of the DNA because you mad? Are you going to weaken the DNA because you will not forgive? Are you going to continue to deny aspects of yourself because your father or your mother did or did not do this? What you going to do? Y'all let me know in the chat while I put this lovely piece of artwork back from that specific night, baby. We had a good old time. Let me know in the chat. What you going to do? What we doing? I'm trying to know, because what I'm telling y'all is, here's what I'm telling y'all. I was receiving so many downloads last night. I was like, damn. It was intense. I was like, shit, okay. Spirit said to me as clear as day, forgive thy father, for he knows not what he do. Spirit was like, when you forgive, family, you tap into a whole nother level and layer of freedom. Now let me throw this in here. Forgiving your father doesn't mean that you have to forget. It doesn't mean that y'all have to have a relationship. Because some of you probably won't, right? You probably will not have that relationship with your father. It probably won't happen. Your father is probably like a big time asshole, right? I've heard a lot of stories. Right? But what I'm being very clear to you, I gave y'all a real ass example. Do y'all know when I accepted the fact, when I decided to change my perspective, when I decided to say, you know what? Even though my past and my history and my trauma is telling me this story, when I decided to tell myself a different story, when I decided to see the power, baby, I became more attractive. That's why Dreamwise was like, you know what? I got to put a ring on it. This girl is bad, right? Dream was like, this girl is smart. This girl is kind. This girl, I mean, he just had to be like, yeah, I like that. I'm going with that, right? That's just the truth. From all of those times I still had anger with my father, like, what? He didn't do this, he didn't do that. All I was attracting was other people to be angry at, because I was just like, I wasn't truly feeling myself, because I subconsciously believed that what my father had did and was doing was, and this is subconscious, family. This is not conscious. But he did it for a reason. And I believe that I was the reason. I was the reason why he didn't show up. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't valuable enough. I wasn't cute enough. Okay. But once I was able to take a step back, let that go, forgive, I started attracting, just being all the way real, I started attracting more high quality people into my life, high quality friends, high quality relationships, high quality opportunities. And it is because I let go of the belief that I had cultivated surrounding what my father did or did not do. I realized that the way that I was perceiving my father was not serving my highest good. It was making me be somebody that I never thought I would be, somebody that I never desired to be. Okay? So that's the first thing, all right? The first thing is that when we deny and when we don't forgive and when we don't let go and when we have resentment and regret and anger, and it's a process. It's a process. So some of you may just now be coming into the awareness, into the understanding that you have anger, frustration, and resentment towards your father or towards your parent. You may just now be coming into that understanding. So it's a process, but what I'm telling you is that you got to do the work to let that go and shift and transform your perspective. Otherwise, that anger and that frustration will control, it will dictate, it will manifest in your life. All right. It will manifest in your life. So let's keep going. I have so many stories of this, but I have to be considerate when I'm sharing those stories because, I don't want, my daddy, he know I got a YouTube page. All my brothers, all my family know I got a YouTube page. And so I don't need them, I don't need them making contact with the video, which they very well may, and be like, damn, D, you told all of YouTube, all of our stuff. I just be trying to give y'all the real. Let y'all see and understand what really be going on. All right. So let's go to part 2 of this thing. So the first thing is when you deny aspects of yourself on a subtle subconscious level, self-hate and self-rejection does come up. So you may block yourself from manifesting love, manifesting abundance, manifesting joy, manifesting all of these great things that you desire. You may be blocking yourself from it because you can't stand an aspect of your father, which means you can't stand an aspect of yourself. And I, this shit gets deep, okay? It gets really, really deep. And some children are born with that energy of self-hate, self-rejection, self-sabotage. Some children are born with that energy because when that child is conceived, the mother and the father don't like each other. They hate each other. They just fighting and fucking, right? They just fighting and fucking. And so, and there's no real genuine love there. And so a lot of times children are born with that energy. And from conception, they have to do a lot of work to rewire their brains, rewire their minds for self-love. So for some of y'all who may be like, damn, why can't I push forward? Why can't I see the joy in my life? Why can't I see the beauty in my life, the wonder in my life, the amazement in my life? Why can't I be this great, beautiful person? Or why can't I even see myself as better? Literally, there are people who can't even see beyond the trauma. And it's not just because of this lifetime. That's stuff that's coming up from conception. That's stuff that's coming up from before they even entered the womb of their mother. It gets deep like that. And so you got to be able to analyze that, look at that, reflect on that. All right, let's go to part number 2 of why you need to forgive. The reason why you need to forgive in order to activate the DNA, in order to upgrade your DNA, is because if you don't, you will be a projector. And I'm not talking about a human design projector because that's what I am. I'm talking about you will project ideas onto yourself, onto your children, onto your relationships, onto money. You will project a certain response onto life in an act to do better than your father. Okay? I got real life examples of this. A lot of times we like, ooh, I don't want to do nothing like my father did. I don't want a man like my father is. I don't want to be like who my father was. And so we go into life projecting an idea. This is all happening subconsciously, projecting an idea that says, ooh, that's not going to work for me because that reminds me of my father. Or, ooh, I need this person. You don't even realize that you are attracting certain situations and circumstances into your life in order for you to transform that belief. Okay? My brother, right? My brother, he's working now on transforming his marriage, right? Healing his marriage. Him and his wife were having some issues. And let me tell you how to a T my brother is repeating the cycle of my father. My brother works at the same exact job that my father worked at when they were the same age. Same exact job, doing the same exact job. I was my father's firstborn child, a girl. My brother has a girl. My brother has a daughter. His firstborn child was a daughter, working at the same job my father was working at. So they got the same job. They both have a daughter first. Sounds like, they sound like they're doing the same thing. My mother, in my relationship with in her relationship with my father, my mother was really the head honcho. She was really the aggressive one, right? She was really the like more of that masculine energy, more of that leadership energy. Well, my brother manifested a wife that has that same type of energy too. She her perspective is the better perspective in her mind, right? Doesn't mean it's reality, but that's in her mind, right? How she views the world is what it should be. And so, same type of energy where there's a woman trying to control the relationship, trying to control the manifestation. And then, sure enough, my dad's second child, still working at the same job, is a son, my brother. Guess what? My brother has a second child, and it's a son too. What am I telling you? One thing about my brother that we've had to talk about, I've had to tell him, I'm like, bro, you gotta let this stuff go with daddy, because if not, you just gonna create the same situations and circumstances, right? And that sure enough has happened. And he's still trying to fight it. He's still trying to fight it. He's still trying to be like, I'm not gonna be like daddy. I'm not gonna be like daddy. I'm not gonna be like daddy. But the reason why he has that perspective is because he's projecting an idea onto life and onto situations that says how my father was, how my father showed up as a father was negative, it was bad, it wasn't good. And so he doesn't know that the lens that he's perceiving life from is from, I want to be the opposite of my father. But you cannot be the opposite of something without being in the same types of situations and circumstances that would cause you to do something different. Ooh, come on. I hope y'all are following me here. The only way for you to know if you have risen above whatever you're judging is for you to be in a situation, for you to be in a risky situation where you potentially could repeat the same cycle. Do you hear me? You don't know if you've overcome, if you've accomplished the task, if you passed the test. You don't know if you've truly done that unless you are put in a situation that puts you to the test. And so, because of his perspective surrounding my father and my mother and their relationship and their divorce and all of that, because of that, he's attracted an almost identical circumstance as my mother and my father was. And because he cannot see the beauty that took place in my mother and my father getting a divorce, I see the beauty in it. I'm like, damn, y'all did that. Thank you. Because who knows what I would have been like if I would have had both of my parents together in the same household, arguing and fighting and all of that, and not on one accord. Who knows who I would have turned out to be? I like who I am today. I love who I am today. I am the result of parents who got a divorce, while I was a young child, of parents who started off fighting and fussing, and they decided to go their own way. A father who decided, you know what, I'm not about to be fighting with your mom and talking to the police every time I come and get you. So the court is going to have to set them dates on when I'm coming to get you, and we're going to abide by that. Who I am today is divine, it's spectacular, it's magical. I am the direct result of those two people and the trauma and drama that they had. And I love it. I love me. I love who I've become. You know what I mean? So like with my brother, it's been hard for him to take a step back and let go of the resentment of how their relationship unfolded. And because he can't do that, now he's in the same situation where he's having to make the same difficult decisions my father had to make. And because he's yet to really embrace the beauty of it, he overworks himself to try to be the opposite of my father. So much so to where it could be detrimental to his well-being. So what am I saying to you all? I'm saying that you have to get out of the projection of whatever the belief was surrounding your father. He ain't this, he ain't that, he ain't whatever, whatever, whatever. Because you will do everything in your power to not be that thing, not understanding that you continue to attract more experiences where you have to prove yourself right or prove yourself wrong. Because you'll discover in those situations, like my brother has discovered, I'm like, bro, you just like daddy. You trying so hard not to be that, but you're that. I know some of y'all know all about that. Let me know in the chat. You ever tried to be so much like, not like your mama? I don't want to be my mama. I don't want to be my mama. I don't want to be my mama. And you end up being just like your damn mama? It's projection. It's projection. It's the beliefs that are lingering in your mind. You project them onto your life situations and circumstances. In an act for you to think and feel that you are better than whatever the hell your father was doing, or that you are better than whatever it was that your mother was doing. You project and you cast an image onto your life situations that will force you to either repeat the same cycles or grow in consciousness. Okay? So you have to get out of the limited perspective of what your father did or did not do. When you get out of that, you no longer are projecting a certain belief. This way you get to, again, upgrade that DNA, and you get to cast on your life, on your situations, on your family, your friends, your finances. You get to cast a new net, essentially, right? You get to cast a new net, a new attraction mechanism that is from a place of wholeness and not from a place of fragmentedness. Because a lot of the times, the judgments that you have on your family and your life and your situations, the judgments are limited. You're not looking at the big picture. Like I told y'all earlier, a lot of times when it comes down to what our father did or did not do, we're so zoomed in on how we were affected and how we were impacted. But when we zoom out and we look at the bigger picture, we look at the full screen instead of looking at this tiny little screen. When we get the full image, we see the good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly, but ultimately we see how it all can truly serve our highest good. And when you see it from that perspective, now you're tapping into infinite potential. Now your DNA is like, okay, what do we want to do? We want to have abundance. We want to have love. We want to have purpose. We want to have relationships. How do we want to use this experience for our growth, for our development, for our evolution? Let me get a check in the chat. Let me know that you're following me, because it's getting real. It's getting real in here, okay? It's getting real in here. Absolutely. You got to see, you got to be able to observe their trauma as well. Absolutely. You know, my father lost his brother. My father had a younger brother, my Uncle Gail, beautiful brother. And my Uncle Gail passed away when we were young kids, right? My Uncle Gail passed away when we were young kids. It's my father's little brother, younger brother. He's his Uncle Gail was the middle child, and he passed away at the age of 33. Christ consciousness, right? I had a family member. My Uncle Gail was actually tapped into that Christ consciousness, and my mother will say it too. She don't know what she's saying. She doesn't say it as Christ consciousness, but what she says is, you know, your Uncle Gail had an absolute heart of gold. I mean, he was an angel on earth, my Uncle Gail. And funny enough, I feel like our son KJ has some of that energy, right? He has some of that energy. Sometimes he ain't being the kindest and the sweetest, but he definitely has some this gentleness to him, right? This lovingness to him, funny enough. And funny enough, damn, I'm connecting some dots here. Funny enough, I'm gonna have to talk to my daddy about this. This is gonna get real juicy. That's the powerful thing about my dad too. I could talk to him about deep shit and he wouldn't judge me. Like I can talk to him about angels and demons and spirits and ancestors, and he gonna have a conversation, right? He gonna give me his perspective. But funny enough, when we were pregnant with KJ, my uncle Gail um was born on 9/11, and I remember going through a phase. I was even at Dream's apartment. We had two different apartments when we were first pregnant, and then we moved in together like halfway through our pregnancy with KJ. And I remember I had felt led to start praying every day around that 9/11 time, right? I would pray from like 9:08 p.m. to like 9:11 p.m. for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes straight. I would just get in that bag and connect and talk to spirit. And I didn't know why I was doing that until I had called my dad and I was like, "Hey daddy, when is Uncle Gail's birthday?" And he told me that 9/11. And I was like, "Oh shit, it makes sense." And so I had been, channeling his energy. But I say that to say my Uncle Gail, my dad's younger brother, passed away when we were young. Like we were young kids, right? And so I could imagine the difficulty of trying to be present as a parent while at the same time grieving the loss of someone you've known all their lives, right? And I never talked, and funny enough, about a year ago, my dad and I had a conversation about that. And because I had never talked to him about how he felt about it, because I was a kid when it happened, a very young kid when it happened, elementary school kid when it happened. And so I had never really talked to him about how challenging that was and how he overcame and how he triumphed and thrived after losing his brother. And so when I think about that today, thanks to Organized Chaos commenting, you got to see their trauma as well. When I think about that today, it taps me into an even deeper level of compassion and empathy and gratitude for my father. Because, like I said, when we're just focusing on our shit and how we were impacted and how we felt, we are so zoomed in, right? We're so zoomed in. We're under a microscope. And as soon as we can take the time to zoom out, we gain a broader perspective, we gain a deeper understanding, and we're actually able to transmute and transform and do the alchemy. All right. So let me give y'all a really quick forgiveness ritual that I do. Y'all let me know in the chat if y'all want to know a forgiveness ritual that I do in my meditation that really supports me and that has helped me. If y'all want to know that, let me know in the chat. I want to give that to y'all real quick, so that y'all can tap in with it. And let me tell y'all, I know a lot of times spiritual people, y'all be like, "Oh, it's just words. You just saying it. You just speaking it." Nah, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. And one, you got to know that your words are power, your words are spells, your words are healing, your words are creating, your words are manifesting. So when you understand that, you understand if you can continually speak to healing, if you can continually speak to forgiveness, if you can continually speak to transformation, it will end up impacting your life and you will end up experiencing that. Okay. Uh, uh, Let me even tell y'all how I know this shit is real, right? I randomly right now just clicked on my email. I'm about to go to my email. I don't know why I was doing that. See, that's how spirit do. With spirit channeling, you'll start doing some random shit. You don't even know why. So I went to my email, and on y'all's email, on our email, they give us, they give you notifications. I click on this email. I click on the main screen, the home screen of the email, and this notification says graduation shooting. Father and son, 18, killed, 5 injured. An 18-year-old who had just graduated and his father were killed in a shooting Tuesday after a high school graduation ceremony on the Virginia Commonwealth University campus. It could have been a kid and his friend. It could have been a kid and his mother. It could have been the grandmother. It could have been two kids. But no, it's a father and a son. Y'all still think I'm just talking about this for no reason? You still think I'm just talking about this for no reason? I'm not. What I'm telling you is so real right now. Right now, I'm telling you, the work, the work is going to be healing that father relationship, that father wound, and leaning into that divine masculinity. And so I'm going to share the forgiveness ritual real quick, but I want to also say a few things, a few little announcements, a few little announcements, right? First thing, first thing. You absolutely, if you do not already have tickets for the Mystic Mind Conference, y'all need to be there. Yes, the Father's Day is actually Father's Day is next week. Is it next week? Father's Day is in 10 days. It's exactly in 10 days for us too. Well, no, it's the 18th. 11 days. Father's Day is in 11 days. But if y'all don't already have y'all's ticket to the Mystic Mind Conference, I'm gonna recommend y'all to be there. I'm actually gonna be talking about spiritual pregnancy, which is so funny. It's so in alignment because when we're talking about the father, obviously you're talking about conception, and so we're going to be tying in the mother and the father and that energy, and we're going to be talking about why now is a great time for all of you to be bringing in certain gifts, wisdom, insight into your womb space. It's time to bring that on into your being, and it's time to birth some shit. And here's the reality. Here's why this topic is so important. This topic is so important because we're in a very special time, right? We're in a very special time right now. And you need a healthy balance of your masculine, your father, and your feminine, your mother. You need a healthy balance of that energy within yourself in order for you to birth more power, more abundance, more fortune, more luck, more love. And so I'm going to be diving in on that at the Mystic Mind Conference. Let me drop the link in the chat. You don't we do also have virtual tickets as well. So if you can't come in person, it's no excuse. You need to be getting that work. If you don't know, I don't know where you've been. But if you don't know, it's going to be myself, Dreamwise, Brother Yosef. We're going to be building. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it. I've been dreaming about it. Um, I've been seeing visions of it, and I've been seeing myself on the stage and what I'm talking about. And Spirit has been just dropping little gems on my lap pertaining to spiritual pregnancy. So important. It's so important. See, a lot of times we limit pregnancy to actually birthing a child, but that's not it. It's deeper than that, right? Uh Childbearing is spiritual, of course. We know childbearing is spiritual, but there's some magic in spiritual pregnancy, meaning taking a gift of the spirit, taking a download from spirit, taking a channel from spirit, taking a creative, taking that and manifesting. taking that and birthing it. Some of y'all ain't birthing shit, and that's a part of the problem. You think, oh, come on, spirit. You think that your life is what it is because your daddy ain't do this and your mama ain't do that and all the drama, all of the blame and everybody else. When the reality is you just gotta birth it already. You gotta birth it already. You gotta know how powerful you are. So that's a side note. I just pinned that comment to the top of the tab. So y'all definitely tap in with the Mystic Mind Conference. Hopefully y'all can come in person. That way we can see each other, in person. Anyways, let's get to this forgiveness ritual real quick because I want y'all to hear this. This specific forgiveness ritual I give, and I have given it to multiple people that I've worked with. So powerful. And the reason why it's so powerful is because so many of you struggle with being able to verbally vocalize what it is that you need. Like you like, oh, I can't talk to my mom or I can't talk to my daddy. I can't tell them that. So very simply, what you want to do, you want to, in your meditation, you want to close your eyes and you want to visualize that person, whoever it is, you want to visualize them in your mind's eye. You want to see their energy. You want to see their spirit. You want to see them come forward in your mind's eye. Okay. Check. We got step one. Let me know if we got step one. I want y'all to be able to take it step by step by step with me. I don't want to talk too fast. So step one is just seeing them in your mind's eye. All right. This person coming up into your mind's eye. You are actually able to see them. Such a beautiful thing to be able to tap into energy this way. This is the power that you have as a spiritual being. All right. You want to see them in your mind's eye. And then after you see them in your mind's eye, you want to say, I forgive you, Father. And specifically, let's just speak about fathers. I'm not even about to make this general. At this time, this is not a general forgiveness. At this time, this is forgiving the Father. So I want you to say, I forgive you, Father, for. So in your meditation, as you see your Father show up in your space, I forgive you, Father, for. Now, here's where the power is going to come from. The power is going to come from actually opening up your mouth and speaking the words out loud. You're not going to say it in your head. You're not going to say it in your head. I want you to say the words, I forgive you, Father, for. I want you to say it out loud. Okay. I want you to say it out loud with your words. Words are spells, words are healing. And you need to hear your own words. You need to hear that reverberation. All right. I forgive you, Father, for. I want you to do that. I'm going to tell y'all like I told somebody else. Okay. Hold on. Let me see. I'm feeling like you can do this however often you need to do it. But what I'm feeling is that the day of the week needs to be on Tuesday. I told this to somebody in the Sacred Sister Circle as well. Tuesdays is governed by the planet Mars. Mars is a very masculine energy. Mars is very yang energy. Okay. And so understand that when you're doing this, you're healing the yang, the masculine energy that cultivates and that comes together and that makes you you. That is what you are doing. Okay. That is what you are doing. You are bringing together and you are healing your own masculine energy. When you forgive your father, you are healing the masculine side of you. You are healing the side of you that deals with courage, that deals with revenge, that deals with power, that deals with higher education, that deals with violence, that deals with action, that deals with war, that deals with prison, that deals with politics, that deals with competition, that deals with leadership. That's what you're dealing with. Okay. So You can either do this meditation on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Since today Tuesday or Wednesday? Today is Wednesday. Since today is Wednesday and I'm talking about this on a Wednesday, let's say so here's what I want you to do. We can take it even further. Here's what I want you to do. The day that you decide to do this meditation, first of all, you're going to continue to do it for the rest of the month of June. We're just in the first week of June. If you decide Tuesdays is the day for you to do it, you've only missed one Tuesday. Do it today. Do it tonight. What I want you to do, the reason why Wednesday the reason why Wednesday would be a good day is because Wednesday is also a masculine energy as well. Hence the God Wednesday on what's that show? The American Gods. You got Wednesday, i.e. What was he? Was he like Odin, the god Odin or something like that? So still very ferocious energy. We're talking about the planet Mercury. So if your relationship with your father caused you to lack leadership, caused you to lack effort, cause you to not, go for the things that you want, cause you to not be to take action. If your relationship with your father has stunted your sexual expression, has stunted you from having healthy sexual pleasure, if that has happened, then you want to do this meditation on Tuesday because Tuesday is governed by the planet Mars. Mars is about leadership, it's very fiery. It's a lot of Leo kind of energy with that. If you are afraid of leadership, if you are afraid of being seen, if you are afraid of shining your light, if you are afraid of healthy relationships, do yours on Tuesday in alignment with the planet Mars. If your relationship with your father has stunted your ability to communicate, has stunted your ability to express yourself, to speak your truth, to be creative, to tap in with your own throat chakra, right? If your relationship with your father has caused you to not be able, in your mind, has caused you to not be able to hear from spirit, tap in the spirit, then you want to do it on Wednesday because Wednesday is governed by the planet Mercury, which is the planet of communication. Okay. So that's how you want to do this. Pick whichever day and you want to speak those words out loud. You don't want to be modest about this. You don't want to be quiet about this. Speak it. If you haven't pursued more knowledge, if you have debt that you feel like your debts are connected to your father, not teaching you how to manage money, not teaching you how to be prosperous, not teaching you about abundance, you need to do this on Wednesday, right? And so Tuesday, if leadership is your issue, if higher education is your issue, if being seen is your issue, if you don't like competition, if you don't like putting yourself out there, you need to do this on Tuesdays, right? So that the planet Mars and this energy can work together in supporting you and letting that energy go from your DNA. If you have struggled with communication, writing, speaking your truth, vocalizing your needs, setting boundaries, self improvement, debt, fear of being yourself, then you need to be tapping in with this on Wednesday. Check. Let me know if we got it. Let me know if we got it. Okay. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and pause right there because I've given a lot of information today. This other portion of this live, let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna go in because I got another. I had one more point to talk about with this topic for transforming your life through upgrading your DNA. I have one more topic, but I know it's gonna take me way too far, and I'm trying to manage how long I'll be live. Okay, I'm trying to manage how long I'll be live. So the next topic we're gonna talk about is gonna be natural lessons versus activations. Natural lessons versus activations. And the reason why this is so important is because the father is really one of the first teachers. All right. And it's a lot of information that spirit has given me to do with that. So I'm gonna wait on that. But for right now, I want y'all to really tune into how much self-love, self-care, self-honoring you have for yourself. I want you to really lean into that. I want you to really lean into what ideas are you projecting onto reality based off of what your father did or did not do. And I want you to assess if those projections or if those judgments that you have of your father and how he showed up in your relationship. I want you to really analyze if that belief or if that judgment is showing up in your reality and what you can do to transform it. All right. So let's end right there. What I do want to tell you, like I said, join the Mystic Mind Conference. Not only that, ladies, womb alchemy. I have a free class that we're going to be doing. I'm so excited. All right. It's the womb alchemy healing workshop. Let me drop that in the chat, right? So y'all be able to sign up for that. It's going to be June 17th. It's going to be the day before Father's Day. A free class for all of y'all to join. And the class is going to tie into this fatherhood energy we've been talking about because the class is transforming your masculine energy into feminine power. All right. Transforming masculine energy into feminine power. It's going to be a free class happening June 17th. If you don't know, your girl is a teacher. Okay. Your girl is a teacher. Teaching is really a passion of mine. I'm really excited about teaching y'all this content for the ladies. All right. So, in a few days, I don't know what day just yet, we're going to talk about natural lessons like learning through nature, and then we're going to talk about activation. Okay, we're going to talk about activation, the difference, and how that energy is impacted by the father. Okay, so we're going to dive into that. But for now, ladies, go ahead and click the link that I just pinned and drop your email so that you can join my free class happening on June 17th. So we got 10 days until that day comes that we're going to be talking about transforming masculine force, really, masculine force into feminine power. I'm excited about that. Before I go, if y'all have a question, go ahead and drop it in the chat right now. We'll answer one or two questions and then we'll get off of here. Um, Let me know and leave a comment too. Leave a comment at the end of this video when we're done. Leave a comment at the end of this video when we're done of you letting me know how this content, you know, is resonating with you right now because it's real. Okay. It's real. It says the confirmations you've been getting on each and every live just goes to show it's right on point. Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And all I would say is that that's spirit. That's how spirit does. That's how spirit do. You know, when you get those confirmations and those synchronicities, you know it's real, right? You know it's real. So that be my goal. That's my passion. That's my desire to. It's my desire to empower you and just to let you know that you can do this, right? You can do this. You do not have to you know, you don't have to stay in the same type of place that you've been in, right? You can grow, you can expand, you can be better. It's just a matter of choice, right? And one of the biggest choices is going to be deciding that everything serves your highest good, right? And if you're still holding on to resentment or regret, then you're not leaning into the energy of everything served by highest good. You're leaning into more of this is bad, this is not good, I don't like this. Why is this happening to me? And so the real work is being able to transform that, but not only transform that, the real work is to live in that, strive in that, and allow that to be who you are, right? Allow that to be who you are. Once you change your perspective on life and you live from a place where everything is always working out for me, life starts to prove you right. And so a lot of times when it comes to our parents, we got this lingering energy of they should have did this, or they could have did this, or I wish they would have did this. And I understand the emotion. I understand where that comes from. But what I know from experience is that holding on to that vibration it does more harm than good. That's a fact. That's a fact. It does more harm than good. And so you have to become deliberate about seeing the gold, right? You got to become deliberate about seeing the good in it. And that will support you in releasing and forgiveness. Anywho, I don't see no questions. That to me says, girl, you went in and you answered everything and you gave a lot of clarity. So I appreciate that. Thank y'all for being here. And we'll be coming back within the next couple of days to talk about natural lessons versus activations by way of the Father. Understand, you can transform your life and utilize that divine masculine energy. But in order to do that, you're going to have to upgrade that DNA, which means you got to get out of the unconscious self hate and self rejection. Accept your father, accept yourself. This doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship with him. It just means you no longer allow the trauma and the drama that manifested in your upbringing. You no longer allow that to dictate how you view yourself and how you view the world. You got to be honest. You got to be real. You got to be vulnerable with yourself. If you need support with that, just hit the link in my bio. Visit DesireeTheCoach.com, and I'm here to support all of that goodness. All right. Leave a comment letting me know how this resonates with you. And we'll be talking soon. Peace and love.